Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to SKG Pro Series. Apologies for all of the technical difficulties that were experienced during qualifying. Hopefully, they should all be fixed for the rest of the duration of the stream. As we head towards the race, it was a fascinating qualifying, unfortunately, due to incredible lag, which made it look like a reading book. We weren't quite able to capture the end of qualifying or any of it really, but hopefully now with the race about to get underway, we should be able to enjoy this race in the way you would expect. It was an interesting qualifying from a different perspective, but hopefully the race will be interesting from a racing perspective. As here we go now to the 5 red lights. And we're underway here in Brazil. It's a good start from Alejandro Loureiro towards turn 1. Zach Styler going to try and go for it, but he's not going to have the inside liners behind. Tachovy side by side with Oliver Knott for 4th place there. As now on the inside is Tachovy. He's got half a car length ahead, has Oliver Knott. As now towards a turn 4 they go. And I think that is Oliver Knott getting the move done. Yes, it is. It's now Axel down in P12 fighting with Adam Stachnik for 11th place. The Aston Martin getting the move done there nicely. There's a little bit of contact in the background. And now as they all filter through the middle sector, it's the Haas of Pascal Gill down the inside for 16th place, getting himself past. There's now Tom Wolfgram looking, having a little think about a move on Axel, but doesn't quite go for it there as they now all filter through this right-hander. They're all safe, which is the main thing, the important thing. They've all got through nice and cleanly as we head towards the end of the first lap. It's all flying formation at the moment. It's towards the back. Thomas Lang there getting himself past Rayan Camporsi as Alejandro Loureiro leads us through to lap 2 of 36. Zach Styler going with him though, very close behind, only 3.5 tenths or so back from the AMR driver as we now head towards the first DRS straight of the race. Zach Styler will gain, but he will not go for a move. He won't be quite close enough. As there you see, they are the potential strategies according to the game. Whether these esports drivers will follow them remains to be seen, as Florian Fanzel today you see moving himself up to 14th place past Dark Zanals. A move showing considering his pace this season, you would expect him to make, as now Wojciech Steg here in 9th place. Currently sat behind Alex Osinas and through the middle sector. He's not quite close enough to think about a dive into this corner, but he may have a little think about it on the DRS straight. But it's going to be difficult for drivers to get moves done on the DRS straights because, well, they're all locked into one giant DRS train, which is something you come to expect in Brazil, but it does make things a hell of a lot more difficult. As now back towards the top is Zach Styler, gonna go for it here on the inside line. Yes, he is. Down the inside he goes towards turn 1, nice and cleanly. Up to first place goes the VNT driver. Is Loureiro potentially gonna try and go for the move back on Styler? I don't think he's quite going to be close enough, but in the background, Alejandro Loureiro not going to be under any pressure there from his teammate for third place. Is now behind Florian Fanzelter on the inside, side by side with Tom Wolfgram. Going to have the outside line for the next right-hander, but with 3/4 of a car length ahead of the Mercedes. He should get the move done, but Wolfgram is going to fight this one hard as towards the inside. Side Wolfgram goes. There's a little bit of contact between the two. And Wolfgram ghosts, and he does drop back for now. But whether the stewards will have something to say about that after the race, we will wait and see. But it just looked like potentially Fanzelter didn't quite leave the space for Tom Wolfgram to go on that inside line, and that is what caused that collision there. As now you see Lucas SL and Wojciech Steg side by side for 9th place, completely side by side as we head on to lap 4, actually banging wheels as down the inside goes the McLaren for FVR. Wojciech Steg going to back out of that one. He doesn't want anything to do with that, and that does move the FVR driver of Lucas SL up to 9th place, picking up an extra point in this race. As now on to lap 4 of 36 we go. The RB of Axel in the background did look a little bit racy. He didn't go for it in the end, and now they will all sit and wait for the next opportunity to attack. But through this next section, they're just going to be recharging the battery. You know, the middle sector is the opportune point, let's say, to recharge your battery here at Brazil, and that is what all of these drivers are doing, just recovering that energy to absolutely drain it down the next 2 straights of the lap. As now actually Lucas SL does actually look quite close to the back of Alex Osinas. Will he potentially go for a move once again in a similar place to where he did on Steg just a lap ago? As now through turn 1 they all go. Lucas SL not quite going to get close enough, but actually under braking closes up quite significantly there. And now Florian Fanzelter round the outside of Axel. This is a great drive from Fanzelter, and he goes up to 12th place nice and cleanly, easy as you like. He is carving his way through this field at the moment, and now he is up to P12 in this race. Next up on his hit list is Adam Stachnik, who has actually lost DRS to his teammate Wojciech Steg, who realistically you would expect to let him back through relatively soon, or not let him back through, let him back into that DRS range relatively soon, which he did do briefly there, because once you lose DRS here at Brazil, it can prove fatal for your race, because that train of cars, all that all have DRS, are just going to begin to pull away from you quite significantly, because DRS is very, very powerful here at Brazil when you don't have it. But when you do have it, you quite often find yourself stuck in trains like we are seeing here today, as Loureiro sets the fastest lap of the race in P2 behind Zach Steiler, still just taking it a little bit easy here so far. He's not too keen to go for that overtake at the moment, just sitting back, making sure that he strikes at the right time, let's say, because, you know, if he strikes at the wrong time, he's just going to get overtaken straight away again. As now Gabriel Moyer in the background for 16th place goes up to P number 16, past Dark Zonals there in the FCT. As you see there, these are the tire strategies for this race. So most people choosing, well, it's pretty much a 50-50 split of those choosing mediums and those choosing hard. The only one that has come into the pit so far is Dennis Langrock, and Rayan Comporti actually. But most people choosing the medium tyre in this race. I think it was a 11-9 split, so relatively even. But the hards obviously are going to come into play in the next few laps. The medium tyres here probably going to be into the pits sort of around lap 15, 16-ish, if you had to take a guess. As now towards turn 2 and then turn number 3 they will go. Is Loureiro going to go for a move towards turn 4? I don't think he will, but here we go. We will see towards turn number 4. He's going to stay behind for now as Dark Zonals, picks up the first track limit penalty of the race. A stat he will not have been wanting, because that now will drop him down to third to last in this race as things stand. But now through the middle sector they go. Loureiro still just keeping it nice and calm behind Zach Steiler. As I said a couple of laps ago, not in any rush to try and re-overtake. He has his teammate of Aaron Raminguez behind him, so these two probably going to start working together pretty soon to try and get past Zach Steiler. As now to Florian van Zelter, who is up 5 positions from the start of this race. Started 17th, currently sits in 12th place, and looks in a pretty good position to try and go for an overtake on the first TES of Adam Stachnik in his way. As now towards turn 1, he's not quite going to be close enough, but can he potentially set up an overtake towards turn number 4? He is looking very close, and he is only 2 attempts back, and with a good run through turn 3, which he gets, he's going to blast towards turn number 4. He's going to use the RS. Stachnik lifts off and just lets him through. Easy as you like for Florian van Zelter, who now is knocking on the door of the points there. You see the tyres there of Wojciech Steg and Florian van Zelter as Dennis Langrock sets the fastest lap of the race on those new hard tyres, which you would expect. He obviously has a clean air as well. 22.5 seconds to Thomas Lang in 18th place there. But now, next on Van Zelter's quest is Lucas SL, who has fallen away a little bit. He was, I believe, P9, but he's lost that position back to Wojciech Steg, and now might lose another to Florian van Zelter, who is on an absolute mission and is going to get this done maybe even before we hit turn 1. He's going to have the inside line for the first corner, but he won't need it. He'll get the move done before we even hit the braking zone, and he now moves himself up into the points paying positions. So Van Zelter, 7 positions gained so far this race, and on an absolute mission in this race. He is flying, and then next lap for him will be that second TES of Wojciech Steg in 9th place. There is about 0.6 of a second back, so it may take him a couple of laps to set it up here, potentially. As now through the middle sector they go, all nice and calm now at the moment, now that Van Zelter has got those moves done. Wojciech Steg actually was pretty close to the back of Alex Osinas, but fell away just a little bit under acceleration. As now towards lap 10 of 36 they go. We're heading towards the medium tyre drop-off phase, let's say. So those on the hard tyres should start to have the advantage when it comes to tyres. As you see there, 9 laps done on those medium tyres, and 9 laps of course on the hards, because we have had no major pit stops just yet towards the top. As now Wojciech Steg, the lead runner of those on the hards, and does look to be progressing quite nicely. He's bringing of course the TRT driver of Van Zelter with him, but he'll need to get himself past Osinas, who looks to be losing touch a little bit to D'Amico in the Williams ahead of him. So these two on the hards, with the advantage starting to shift into their favour, need to clear the Haas relatively quickly in order to continue their rise up the field through for the until the medium tyre runners pit at least, which I presume will be around lap 15, lap 16 or so. Maybe a little bit later for those that are feeling brave. As now towards lap 11 we will go. Wojciech Steg is not going to be close enough to go for it on Osinas. What about Van Zelter? 3.5 tenths back. I don't think he's quite going to be able to get close enough. Not quite. And now it will remain as they are probably until the end of next lap at least, because turn number 4, although an overtaking opportunity, is not as good of an opportunity to overtake as turn number 1, as it comes with a little bit more risk than the first corner. As you see the tyre difference there between Alex Osinas and Wojciech Steg, a 12% difference on that rear right tyre is going to be, well, I would expect it actually to be a little bit bigger than that, but obviously not. 12% is probably a couple of tenths a lap advantage for Steg here, so we will see. And he is in fact getting closer to Oceanas. It's just about getting the energy reserves nice and sorted so he can go for it towards turn 1 or turn number 4. As now down the main straight they will go. DRS will open in a few moments time. 3/10 back was Wojciech Steg as Oliver Knott comes into the pit lane. He is the first of those to blink on the medium tyres. Alex Oceanas actually follows him in as well. They will be going onto the hard tyres. That is a very early pit stop for those two. Hards will make it most likely, but they won't be pretty. I think that's fair to say. As now through turn 4 we go. It'll be interesting to see now from here. Do the other medium tyre runners react? As now Lucas SL running off track a little bit. That was Wojciech Steg trying to go for it. That's going to open, or not Adam Stachnik, sorry. That's going to open the opportunity for Axel to go for a move potentially. He tries to switch back, but it doesn't quite work out. Is he going to think about a lunge? Yes, he is. But Lucas SL manages to cover it off nice enough towards a turn number 7, and he remains in 10th place. But Stachnik did manage to defend that one just about, I believe. And those medium tyres on Lucas SL, he is the first of those on the medium starting to fall away ever so slightly. As now here goes Axel round the outside, swooping past, or potentially towards turn 1. It's going to be a free wide here as the Mercedes of Gabriel Moya going to try and go for it as well. Down the inside he goes on those hard tyres, gets himself past. Big slide for Lucas SL there. Throws him out wide, and down to 11th place he goes. Apologies there, ladies and gentlemen. The quality went down for me a little bit, ever so slightly, as now Zach Styler into the pits, as was Tachubi, as was Carlos Galindo. But Lucas SL has dropped multiple positions there. Gabriel Moya got himself up to 10th. Opportune from him, and you can see those mediums are starting to fall away. And Wojciech Steg finds himself now in 4th place, right on the back of D'Amico there. So things are going there. Well, things going the hard tyre runners' way at the moment, which of course you would expect those mediums are going to be starting to feel not very nice. Is now on to lap 13. We will go with the leaders. Lap 14, sorry. There you go. As now into 3rd place goes Wojciech Steg. That is D'Amico dropping 2 positions there. As now towards turn number 4 they go. Florian Fanzelter still tailing Wojciech Steg. These two have been together since pretty much the start of the race now. 2.7 gap. Second gap has been open now for the 2 Red Bulls of the 2 AMR drivers of Alejandro Loureiro and Aaron Raminguez have been working together now. And Wojciech Steg on those hard tyres, there's a little bit of work ahead of him. You do wonder, are these two going to stay out an extra lap and go in lap 15, lap 16 respectively? Or is one of them going to pull the trigger on this lap? We will see. AMR team strategy burning the house down, says Ghosty. Yeah, they're working quite well together at the moment, as they, I believe, are going to head past the pit lane. And that is Aaron Raminguez into the pits. He is the first driver to go in, I think, trying to cover off the undercut. As you see, Florian Fanzelter getting himself past Wojciech Steg before turn 1. As now Willie be under a little bit of pressure towards the end of the next DRS straight at turn 4. As here we go. Steg opens the DRS, but isn't going to go for it here. He's on the recharge, so just choosing to stay behind, at least for now. As through the middle sector we go. You would imagine Alejandro Loureiro will be in on this lap, which will leave Florian Fanzelter on Wojciech Steg on those hard tyres to lead this race. They, of course, are going to be out for a little bit longer, at least another 6 laps you would expect them to stay out for, until the end of lap 21 at least, on those medium tyres, because of course they've started on the hards. They'll be going to the mediums next, but how long Will they be able to take them in that second stint? I mean, Loureiro has managed to take them pretty much 15 laps. So they probably will be able to take them the same, maybe even slightly longer, due to the there being less fuel in the car. As we see now, Zach Steiler, the lead car of those that has pitted, moving to the outside line of Darks and Eyes, who just slots in, doesn't really put up much of a fight. You know, 3-lap-old hards versus 15-lap-old hard tyres is not really that much of a competition. AMR got some overtaking to do, says Goat Ghosty again. Yeah, they definitely do. As you can see, Aaron Dominguez and Alejandro Loureiro have rejoined in 15th and 16th respectively. The undercut is quite clearly very powerful in this race, as Zach Steiler now, and Oliver Knott as well, moving themselves past Thomas Lang there. Up to 9th place goes Oliver Knott. So the two VNTs are running together at the moment. A net 1-2 as things stand for these two. Once the others come into the pits, that will be where they will lie, P1 and 2. But it is going to be interesting to see those that started on the hards. Watch out for them towards the end of the race. You know, they're going to have a lot of overtaking to do. They're probably going to rejoin toward the back of the grid, but you know, on those medium tyres, which are going to be significantly newer than the hard tyres, watch out for them, as Pascal Gil picking up a 3-second penalty there in 5th place at the moment. Once he comes in, it won't be 5th place, of course, as Aaron Dominguez moving himself past Carlos Galindo there for 14th place. But now the two VNTs starting to close that gap to Gabriel Moya in 7th place. They're in a nice position. They're not really under too much pressure. They've got 3 seconds ahead of them to Gabriel Moya, and they've got 2 seconds to Thomas Lang behind them. So they're in a nice little pocket of clean air here, are the two VNTs. So they can use this to push on a little bit, I suppose. And teamwork has been the name of the game for those two, as down the inside goes Alex Osinas for 12th place. Darks and Eyes not really fighting it. Here comes Aaron Dominguez round the outside towards the end of the second sector. Darks and Eyes just doesn't seem to have any intention of fighting these guys too hard with those old tyres, as now will potentially Loureiro look for a move on Carlos Galindo, or will Galindo in turn look for a move on Darks and Eyes? Yes, he will. Both of them will go past the FCT, as now down the inside will go the Haas driver on Thomas Lang, and he will get that done. Up to 11th place he goes, and in the meantime, Alejandro Loureiro behind did get himself past Carlos Galindo. Aaron Dominguez gets past Thomas Lang as well, who peels to try and cut off the other Red Bull of Alejandro Loureiro, and does just about, at least for now. But Loureiro gets the switchback and gets himself past Thomas Lang, and Carlos Galindo as well going past. So Thomas Lang for FST losing 3 positions there in a matter of 2 corners. Not ideal for him, as now that will be him in 14th place at the moment. Once people come in, that will be about 8th, that'll be 7th place in this race. We said the AMRs had some overtaking to do. That is exactly what they are doing. Next up on their hit list is Alex Osinas in 11th place. Aaron Dominguez 3/10 back at the moment, but Carlos Galindo is absolutely going with them as well. As now into turn 1. Carlos Galindo not quite close enough to go for a move there. Alejandro Loureiro actually dropping off the back of his teammate ever so slightly there. 0.7 of a second. Now the gap just dropping back ever so slightly, but Dominguez crawling all over the back of Alex Osinas at the moment. As Oliver Knott moves himself past Gabriel Moya, up to 8th place there on the leaderboard, as you see. But Galindo, can he go with the two Red Bulls, the 2 AMRs in this race? He's on older tyres. The question is, how long can they stick with him for? Or how long can he stick with them for, sorry. As Zach Steiler moving himself past Axel up to 6th place provisionally in this race. And now Pascal Gill as well, getting overtaken by Zach Steiler, who is putting some moves towards the top of the field. Oliver Knott also had a little think about a move on Pascal Gill towards turn 1. Did get past Axel though as well. As now here we go towards turn number 4. Oliver Knott going to go down the inside, or doesn't even need to go down the inside, gets it done before we even hit the braking point. And up to 5th and 6th go the two Ferraris. They are quite comfortably leading this race at the moment. Once the pit stops are all completed, as now Zach Steiler also getting himself past Adam Stachnik up to 4th place. So the hard tyre runners now, some of them are pretty much a full pit stop behind those at the top. So really hasn't worked out for them so far, and it'll be interesting to see what they can do once they peel into the pit lane, which you would expect to be in the next couple of laps, as Wojciech Steg actually does pull the trigger, goes into the pit lane, the first of those on the hards to go for it, and Zach Steiler gets past Tom Wolfgram with DRS up to 2nd place in this race. But the provisional race lead, of course, Florian Van Zelter, 6.6 seconds up the road, has not yet pitted in this one, so it will be Steiler that will take the lead on this race in the next couple of laps. As now at turn 4, Aaron Ramirez was having a little look at an overtake on Alex Oseen, as it hasn't quite worked out for him. But now what do you think about a little dive at turn number 7? No, not quite. He stays behind, at least for now. But he is very close to the back, as Thomas Lang has actually retired from this race. I believe that was in the pit lane. But we will see. No, it's actually a safety car. What has happened? We can't quite see where it is, but he has retired from this race somewhere on track. And that will bring out I believe it's a virtual safety car. Okay, yeah, the virtual safety car here. So it's not a full course, but that has opened a very nice opportunity for Florian Van Zelter to come into the pits here. As you see, Lang leaves the pit, leaves the session. Van Zelter, that will of course make him lose less positions, and as you see, he will rejoin in 9th place now. And that virtual safety car was incredibly timely for him, because that now means he is right on the back of that pack, as Adam Stachnik has actually left the session. I think that's probably a disconnect. So potentially could Florian Van Zelter be a one to watch towards the end of this race, because he's in 9th place. He's got some overtaking to do, admittedly, but with those new medium tyres, he very well could get himself up there. As we go back racing, the two VMTs for the first time are 1 and 2 now, thanks to Van Zelter coming in. As now D'Amico sat behind Carlos Galindo, but more importantly has Van Zelter, who is on those new medium tyres, right on the back of him. And you've got to say that was a perfectly timed VSC for Van Zelter. Not so much for Wojciech Steg, who would have undercut the TRT driver ahead of him, but it didn't quite happen in the end because of that virtual safety car. But now towards turn number 1, Florian Van Zelter going straight on the attack down the inside of D'Amico. Not much the FST could do, and he will have to cede the position. Up to 8th place goes Florian Van Zelter, and he may well even go for another move in the next few moments on Carlos Galindo in 7th place. So he's not going to get close enough to turn number 4, but will he think about a dive in the middle sector? We will see. And now towards turn number 6. There you go. D'Amico now in a position where, other than Wojciech Steg, has a lot of gap behind him to Wojciech Steg, as you now see. Axel looking for a move on a Dennis Langrock. Down the inside they go. He goes. Has got himself on the outside. Gets the move done nice and cleanly there. Absolutely no issues. I don't think Langrock had any intention of fighting that. 17 lap hard tyres aren't really going to be able to defend from 1 lap old mediums. And as we see 1 lap old mediums as well, Florian Fanzelt are actually going to go on the attack on Carlos Galindo towards turn number 1. Not quite. He did look like he was going to go for a dive, but he didn't in the end. He stays behind, at least for now. But towards turn number 4, being only 2 tenths back, maybe he will have a little think. It doesn't look like he's quite close enough. Nope. He will stay behind. He'll stay behind and wait for another lap or so. But as you see, Axel starting to catch Pascal Gill here for P12 in this race. Of course, not for any points, but for pride. As now next up on Fanzelta's list is Carlos Galindo. Is Alejandro Loureiro actually trying to get under attack from Galindo, which has potentially opened the opportunity for Florian Fanzelta to go for it. He's very close, 10.5 behind before he even hit the DRS activation point. As now towards turn number 1, Galindo tries to squeeze him tight, but it doesn't quite work. On the inside line, Florian Fanzelta up to 7th place. And that is the difference, ladies and gentlemen, between 12 lap old hards and 3 lap old mediums. As Adam Stachnik puts in the fastest lap of the race on those medium tyres. But Carlos Galindo there, losing out to Florian Fanzelta. He tried to attack Loureiro for 6th place. Didn't quite work out. And he suffered the consequences there. Unfortunately for him. As Florian Fanzelta will now have a go at the back of Alejandro Loureiro, who is actually on the newest hard tyres of anybody in this leading train. 9 lap old. So a 6 lap difference between himself and Florian Fanzelta's 3 lap old medium tyres, but that still is quite a significant difference at this phase of the race. But I don't think Florian Fanzelta is quite going to be close enough as Tuchubi actually getting overtaken there by Aaron Raminguez, who gets himself onto the podium now, 3.2 seconds behind the VNTs of Oliver Knott and Zach Steiler, who still lead 1-2 in this race. As now towards turn number 4, Florian Fanzelta is gaining. He thinks about a move. He has to back out of it there, but has so much overspeed on Alejandro Loureiro, who's also trying to think about a move on Alex Osinas. It's all happening here, and they just about stay in formation for now. As now down the inside goes Florian Fanzelta. Very late move, but just about given the space by Loureiro. Really good respectful racing between the two. Little bit of a wiggle for Florian Fanzelta, but he will have the inside line for this next right-hander, and I think Loureiro's might have to concede this one. They give each other the squeeze. Loureiro's kept his nose on the inside line for the final breaking point, and he will peel in front at least for now. But the switchback for Florian Fanzelta as we head towards the DRS zone. They're bumping wheels between each other, and now DRS will open for the two, and Loureiro will just about stay ahead at least for now. But towards turn 1, will Fanzelta think about a move? The Red Bull defends the inside line a little bit, and that was the end of that interaction, at least for now. But I'm sure there will be another confrontation between these two. That was very good racing there between those two. Meanwhile, whilst Loureiro struggles to find the pace through the field, his teammate is up to 3rd place, as Pascal Gill for a moment looked like he was going to go for a move on Axel, but not quite close enough to make it work. He'll have to stay behind at least for now in this middle sector. As now Adam Stachnik picks up a 3-second track limit penalty there. It's it's gonna drop him down 1 position as things stand. He's down in 16th place at the moment, but of course no points on offer for P16 in this race, so it won't do too much in the grand scheme of things. As now Pascal Gill, will he think about a move towards first corner? He's not close enough to go for it, and that has kind of been a theme of his race for the last few laps as Stachnik moves himself past Langrock, as does Lucas SL there in the DRS straight, as now you see there Stachnik has a 6-second gap between himself and Gabriel Moya, both on the same age of tyres, so I don't think there is particularly going to be too much gain there for Stachnik, because those are, because of course both of their medium tyres will begin to fall off, and Stachnik is bringing Lucas SL with him, who is on 6-lap-old hards, and eventually they will become the better tyre. I don't think the crossover is going to be incredibly significant towards the end of this race, but it definitely will exist. As the two VNTs, by the way, they're still just sort of managing that gap between themselves and Aaron Ramirez, who did get himself past to Tubi and hasn't been able to break away from the RSC. So that gap has just kind of been floating between Oliver Knott and Aaron Ramirez, between about 3.2 to 3.5, as now towards the inside line goes Lucas SL on the TES of Adam Stachnik, who tries to go for the switchback as Florian Vanzelter picks up a 3-second penalty. That could be big, because he looked like a decent bet for a podium in this race a few laps ago, and now that would drop him down to P10 in this race. So that is not good for him in this one. As you see now, Loureiro still behind the rear end of the Haas of Alex Osinas, who has just kind of been there or thereabouts the entire race. He's not really done much attacking or defending. He's just kind of been there or thereabouts the entire time. Nobody has been able to get past him on these DRS straights. He's got relatively good straight line speed on board that OMB Haas there. As now Loureiro could actually come under a little bit of pressure from Florian Vanzelter here. I don't think it's quite going to be close enough for Vanzelter to think about a dive, so he will stay behind. And that is kind of a theme here at Brazil. You know, when you're stuck in a DRS train, it's incredibly difficult to go for an overtake. As I say, that Pascal Gil moves himself up to 12th place past Axel, and then Gabriel Moya does the same up to P. Or Gabriel Moya actually fighting it back there on the leaderboard, as you see. But in the end, Gabriel Moya does get himself back past and maintains at least 13th place for now. As now towards lap 31 we go, and the two VNTs as things stand are absolutely dialed in and are leading the way pretty comfortably. I think it's fair to say they've got a pretty nice gap to Aaron Ramirez behind, who is starting to drop to Tubi, but not quite able to get it out of DRS just yet. Now towards turn 1, Loureiro still unable to get past Osinas, and in turn Vanzelter unable to get past Loureiro. Just these guys locked in a DRS train as Rayan Comporsi has crashed, and that is going to bring out a safety car, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be a full course safety car, so you would imagine everyone is going to head on to the soft tyres for the rest of this race. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens from here. And it will be a question of, did anybody save a set of soft tyres? I don't imagine anyone did, but we will see in a few moments' time once the pit stops begin to happen. As now we head towards the pit lane. Is anybody going to come in, or are they all going to come in? Yeah, Zach Styler and Oliver Knott are going to double stack. They could potentially lose position to Ramirez. As now everybody storming into the pit lane. This is going to be a very, very busy pit lane. Everyone onto the soft tyres. It seems they've all saved a set of soft compound tyres. I think if you haven't now, looking at that, you're kind of screwed. Some people have actually chosen to stay out. So Axel has stayed out. Aaron Ramirez has gone on to a new set of mediums, so he clearly didn't save a set of softs. But this opens one hell of an opportunity for Zach Styler to win this race, because he now has a driver on 10 lap old tyres who is this late on gonna fight with all of his might for the safety car, for the podium here, because he is actually in a podium position as things stand. But we'll see what happens once we get back underway. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the safety car is back in, and we will have 3 laps of racing to decide this race, but the advantage is heavily in the VNT of Zach Styler's favour, because he has that car of Axel, who is on much older medium tyres behind him. As he has gone, he left it very, very late. He's caused absolute discourse behind him, and Aaron Ramirez is going to capitalise on this one down the inside. So Zach Styler's tactic didn't quite work, but it has got him a relatively nice gap behind him, as now Tachubi is going to try and swoop around the outside of his teammate, and behind them, Alex Osinas, Lucas SL, Florian Van Zelter, and everyone else side by side towards turn number 4. And Lucas SL going to drop down multiple positions. Alex Osinas somehow, after all of that, remains in 5th place, which seems to have been his permanent resting spot this entire race. And now the two McLarens have been split. It was for a moment them together, but Carlos Galindo in 6th place there, could be under pressure from Florian Van Zelter. Watch Alejandro Lerrero as well on those medium tyres. It's going to be a difficult end to this race for him, as Alex Osinas up to 4th place. The McLaren of Carlos Galindo and himself and Osinas have got themselves past Axel in 6th place there on those 12 lap old medium tyres. They are not doing the job that he hoped, and he has fallen away so much already. Aaron Ramirez is on the medium tyres and has nearly lost DRS to Zach Styler. Of course, Styler did have his teammate with him briefly, but that double stack cost them quite dearly, as now the RB of Axel under pressure once again. Lerrero moving past. And now here comes D'Amico on the inside line. The RB tries to fight it, but can't do anything on those old tyres. Now here comes Tom Wolfgram as well, and potentially Wojciech Steg could look to get in the fight as well. So those mediums on Axel's car just doing nothing, and there you go. Wojciech Steg on the inside line, diving it, getting it done, switching to the outside now. Will get it done under traction because he'll have so much more grip. And now here comes Pascal Gill as well. A little bit of contact between the two. The Haas pretty much pushing Axel through the corner, and now on the outside line is going to get it done, I think. Yes, he will. So Axel dropping all the way down the field at the moment. Absolutely nothing he could do there. There's now Oliver Knott up to 12th place past Axel as well. Aaron Ramirez sets fastest lap of the race. On to the final lap we go. Is Ramirez going to be able to get himself close enough to attack Styler towards the end of this lap? As things stand, he is not close enough, but are those soft tyres potentially going to be falling away in comparison to the mediums? I'd say it's too early, but we will see. Florian Fanzelter there has that 3-second penalty. He is going to drop well down the order, probably down to about 10th, 11th place, as Lucas SL has retired. He's crashed at the first corner, and that is the end of his race there. Doug Nice picks up a 3-second time penalty, but the top two have absolutely broken away. Tsuchibi 1.8 seconds behind them now as things stand. And now towards the end of this lap, is Ramirez close enough to try and overtake down at the final straight? Here we go. We'll find out the answer now. Zach Styler has been on the softs. Aaron Ramirez has been on the mediums. And now DRS will open, and it's not going to be enough for the AMR. It will be Zach Styler who wins here in Brazil for VNT. Aaron Ramirez for AMR brings it home second place. Tsuchibi picks up a podium in third. Alex Ocinas fourth. Carlos Galindo fifth. And then all of the other drivers crossing the line in tandem there. We'll get the full results in a few moments' time. But what a race, ladies and gentlemen. What an ending that was to the Grand Prix. As now we wait. Yeah, as now we wait for the podium. There you go. There is the podium, ladies and gentlemen, for number 11. And here you go. Here are the results, ladies and gentlemen. It was Zach Styler winning the race in first. Aaron Ramirez second place, picking up the fastest lap. Tsuchibi third. Alex Ocinas fourth. Carlos Galindo fifth. Alejandro Loureiro 6th, D'Amico 7th, Wojciech Steg 8th, Florian Fanzelter 9th, Oliver Knott 10th, Dennis Langrock 11th, Tom Wolfgram 12th, Axel 13th, Pascal Gill in 14th, Gabriel Moya 15th, Adam Stachnik 16th, Dark Zanai 17th, Lucas SL crashed on the last lap, and then we lost Ryan Comporsi and Thomas Lang, ladies and gentlemen. So there we are. That is the end of the Grand Prix there, ladies and gentlemen. And that just leaves one more race left in this season, of the first season of the Pro Series, which of course is going to be Abu Dhabi, ladies and gentlemen. So join us for that one. Thank you all very much for watching. I have been Owen Baldero, and we will see you next week for the final round at Abu Dhabi. Goodbye.